all feel all right after that wonderful song. Thank you, Bodhi. Good morning. My name is Bob Gordon, and I am a very devoted member of this congregation. Please take your seats. It looks like most people have already. And please turn off your cell phones all the way off. And take this opportunity to greet each other for a moment.
I'll play it through once.
All right. Welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We honor you wherever you are on your spiritual path and know that there is something wonderful for each and every one of you here this morning. One of the things that I enjoy are talking about the spiritual qualities, and one that I think is sometimes not given enough attention is the quality of patience. Slow and steady wins the race to a life worth living, and patience makes the pathway upon which we travel a more enjoyable and rewarding journey, especially as we make our way into the mystery of that which is yet to be. And then there's a wonderful quote in this book by Dennis Merritt Jones from The Art of Uncertainty, a wonderful book. And it's, patience is something you admire in the driver behind you and scorn in the one ahead. And that's such a keeper that I'm going to repeat it. Patience is something you admire in the driver behind you and scorn.
And remember, the one in the seat you're in is the most important.
Impatience is the unformed energy of fear looking for a place to manifest. Look how we beat ourselves up with unkind thoughts and words that come from the energy of impatience. In turning to nature, we witness the wisdom of patience working at every level. As an example, sit in a garden and allow the plants to be your teacher. And a good example of that is Karyl with her roses. You'll never hear a rose bush grunt and strain trying to force its buds to open. There is wisdom within the rose that knows when it's time to unfold. Likewise, we can't force ourselves to grow faster than we should, any more than we can force a rose to blossom. The words to our morning chant are on the screen, or will be. Yes, they are. And followed by the words of the spiritual mind treatment offered by our beloved Reverend Karyl to take you deeply into your own centers.
Let's all stand up. Come on, everybody, let's stand up. 1, 2, 1. I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When the world tries to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still, let God love me. I need to be still, let God love me. to be still. Let God love me. I need to be still. Let God love me. When the world tries to push and shove me, I need to be still. Let God love me. I need to be still. Let God love me.
Oh, we like that one. Yeah. You guys are great. You are fabulous with all that harmony and getting in that soul. And you know what? Bob and Bodie and I did not talk prior to the opening of this service with patience and being still. So, and I love it when God's the stage manager, which is the case. Welcome to everyone, especially those here for the first time. Please join me in prayer. And we'll just follow that theme. I remember and know that the infinite presence of God, that light and life and peace and power, joy, wonder, the source, the pattern that connects, is all there is. Everything is connected. Nothing is left out. No one is left out. It is all one holy, glorious, complex, and yet simple essence of life. I know that I am there, right there in the center of it, and God is in my center. And as I know this for me, I know this for each one here. Not having to do anything, believe anything, even let go of anything or grab anything. Each one is a beloved of God, just as he or she is, right here and right now. And as we move into this day, and indeed the rest of our life, it is with a choice, maybe we didn't have before, of stillness and patience. An ability to just breathe and say, here I am in the middle of God. Here God is in the middle of me. In the middle of my life and what I've got going. The infinite one, the beloved of my soul, is in everything. Connecting me to solutions, connecting me to people that I need to know, connecting me to ideas that are beneficial. It's all for the good. It's all here. And here I sit in the middle of God. And so for this and all of the benefits of sitting in patience and letting God love me, I give my thanks. I release this into the eternal law that only says yes. And the results of this prayer are already showing up in my life and in each other one who hears my voice. The word of God has been spoken through me, and I release it now into God's law, and it is done. And so it is. Oh, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here, and we have a wonderful musical gift for you today. Roman Celeste Swan are the American pop rock group known as Gypsy Soul. They have been seen on feature films and TV shows, or at least their music, Providence, Roswell, and Felicity. They are currently being played in a rotation in Starbucks. So you go to Starbucks after and you go, wow, I just heard them. We are very, very glad that Bodhi invited them. Please welcome, if you would, Gypsy Soul.
Thank you so much. We used to live in Marin, actually about 15 years ago, and knew Robert Gordon in the day, so it's kind of fun to see your face. This is a song called I'm Calling In.
There's a road I travel down in the dark, a stormy path where I lost the rhythm of my heart, and like a thief in the night, gone was a light that guided my soul. Feeling cold and alone, just dying to be whole. I'm calling in, I'm calling in, all the answers inside of me. I'm calling in, I'm calling in, So tell me what's worse to bear, the open wound or the sting of the salt? Let's go out on a limb, throw caution to the wind, gotta shed some skin. Oh, you know there's a fine line between letting go and giving in. I'm calling in, I'm calling in, all the answers inside of me. I'm calling in, I'm calling in, oh, a life that sets me free. I'm calling in, I'm calling in.
very much.
Wow. My name is Michael Hart, and I'm your practitioner this morning. And we like to begin with gratitude, and oh boy, do I have a juicy one today. All the practitioners were on their annual overnight retreat Friday to Saturday of this weekend, and we got to crown a new Empress Emerita of the 20-year practitioner, and that is Barbara. Barbara Cox, would you stand up for a second? We also had two just a hop, skip, and jump away at 15 years, Pat Malone and Galen Cooper, and we also had a bunch at 10 and a bunch at 5. We had like 7 practitioners receiving their 5, 10, 15, 20-year pins this weekend. And I get to give gratitude not only for those individuals who've been here so long, but for all the practitioners who made the time to get together, because it is such a gift, not only to us, but I promise you to everyone else in the room too. There's something so special that happens when this happens. And Karyl put us in mystery school, so we got taught a few things. So it was really good. So also, it's my pleasure to bless the children, no matter how they look, how young or old they look. The topic today is creative self-expression, and what came to me is how uniqueness relates to that, and how we listen to the answers within us in a unique way, each one of us. So I thought, there's something unique about me, and that is baby fingers that most people don't know about. So I thought I'd invite each of you to just share with your neighbors something that's unique and maybe a little odd about you. I'm sorry, it's a time thing. Okay, so bringing us back to the 5 minutes I'm supposed to keep this to, I want to let you know that today we have a legacy table set up over here beautifully. Today we have a legacy table set up where the event usually is, and I believe that Susie's going to be there after church. So if you have any questions about putting GGCSL in your will or estate plan, you can refer to your bulletin for things about it, and also Susie will be at the table. I have, and no big deal, feels great. And also today you received a flyer and a little blank card for any questions you might have about, thank you, Vanna, about abundance, because we're moving into our month spent on abundance. So any questions you might have about abundance, prosperity, supply, anything to do with your comfort with financial matters, write your questions down, and you can get them answered from a spiritual perspective in a series of 3 weeks of classes with Reverend Lloyd Tupper, our founder, and Francine Huss. And again, that's in your bulletin and on the flyer. It's going to be 3 Thursdays this month to answer your questions. So don't miss that. And that you can sign up you can see more information on that at the Ed team. Now, Reverend Sarah is having her monthly meeting at 8 a.m. Thursday morning at Il Fornau for coffee and discussion. Anyone who's looking to apply spiritual principles to their working life, she talked to us about the 2 barriers to abundance, worthiness and possibility. And last month she talked about worthiness. And this month, this Thursday, it's going to be about the possibilities. So it'll be lots of fun. We do not yet have anyone who has felt the call or told us that they felt the call to offer their home for our Thanksgiving dinner. So please, if that is calling you, we're still open for the host, and let us know. And then finally, before Karyl knocks our socks off once again, Posey's going to talk to us for a moment.
Good morning. We actually have 2 classes still coming up. One will be taught by Janet in November, starting in the beginning of November. And Tuesday, I will start teaching treatment and meditation, spiritual practices for daily living. This class is open to anyone who has taken Beyond Limits or the Foundations class. And I really invite you to look into your heart to see if you are called to join me. This class is such a rich opportunity to pray together, break bread together, connect more deeply, meditate together, deepen in your conscious contact with Spirit. It's the first time in classes that you actually pray with your prayer pod. We will develop a prayer pod, and you'll be praying with them every week. And if you liked the energy with which Michael talked about the practitioner retreat, I'm fresh off that retreat, so I am so high and full of information, and we learned the 7 Hermetic laws, which include mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. And if you'd like to know how those can be applied to science of mind, you might want to consider joining our class. So Tuesday, 6:30, be there by 6:15. And please actually let me know today so that we prepare class materials for you. It is the sweetest, most juicy, deep, rich, fun class. So please join me. Just put it back.
2 of our dear beloveds are infirm, and I have cards for them that they'll be on the altar after the service, along with a little address pieces of paper if you want to send your own card from home. So Bob Plath is not healing so well from the hip, and so he could use our love and attention. And so we have a card for him. And then Jim Homa is in UC Medical Center, and he had a big bad headache about a week ago at a dance. And the thing, the heart thing and the head thing has been checked. Nothing seems to be wrong, but they have kept him in the hospital. And so we have cards for him, and also those little labels. So please use one of those if you love these men, as many of us do. And then finally, in your bulletin, you will see that we are starting something new. We are doing birthday parties. And the way this is going to work is that by zodiac sign. And if you want to know how that fits into science of mind, well, God's going to tell me. But we're starting with Scorpios. And if you want to come and see my scorpion in plastic, anybody is invited. So the Scorpio babies, this party is for you. There will be a cake and much festivity. And if you aren't a Scorpio, come and bring some finger food, and we'll just have a wonderful party. Yes, Jim? Well, would all the Scorpios please stand up? High sexual drive and criminal connections. Okay. What?
It does not say what time.
7 o'clock, and it's 7 o'clock at Sue's house, and we'll have all of that information for you. So doesn't this already sound like fun? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay. So we are starting, my darlings, the last quarter of the year. Can you believe it? We have entered fall. If you can look over there on our calendar, we have started into the last quarter of our year. This ancient path that is signified by the Celtic cross, which is one of my symbols because I'm wearing it, is it's a calendar that shows that we start with inspiration and then planting. That's inspiration and planting. And then we do hard work and get support from the season and the sun and the heat. And then we are into harvest. And about now, the harvest is in for a lot of the northern hemisphere. And so what the year is about now for our ancestors was preparing for winter and putting things up. That it was a saying in my family, you put up tomatoes and you put up, olives, and you put up, no, I don't have no Italian in me, so we did not put up olives, but some people did. Hens left to their own devices stop laying when there's less than 12 hours of sunshine per day. And so here our ancestors were going into the winter, and actually when the spring equinox happens in the spring and they started laying again, you can imagine how amazing and miraculous it was to have that little package of protein that magically appeared when everybody was so hungry. But right now is the preparation time. And so the weather turns cold, and it'll turn rainy here, and our faith is tested. Even if, we've got grocery stores and we've got heat in our houses, but there is this consciousness that comes into us in the fall of we need faith to get through the winter. And so that is our theme for October, is faith. And so I was thinking about this, and the title for this talk is The Most Basic Question. So I thought, oh gosh, let's just go to the very, very center of faith, because you can work all around faith, but if you don't have the basic question of life answered yes, you will not be able to develop faith too well. And the basic question of life is life for us? Is it safe here? Or is there something out to get us? Is life safe? That is the most basic question. And then when we combine it with the principle of the day, it is done unto you as you believe, we have a very interesting dynamic here, because this principle, and we usually work with a principle a week. We have a word and a principle and a theme, and I keep reminding you, so it kind of sorts itself out. But this principle, it is done unto you as you believe, is the central philosophical principle of our whole wisdom tradition. And it really, really does mean that as you believe, that is the way life is for you. Your life is not about how other people impact you as much as it is about how you carry the answer to that question, is life for us, and what your other beliefs are about your value and other people's value. So it is done unto you as you believe, and if we take those two things, is life for us, and it's done unto you as you believe, you would think that being able to answer yes to that question, yes, life is for me, would make a better life for you, right? Are you with me so far? If we can say, yes, life is for me, then life goes better. So the altar, which is done by Sean, this beautiful, beautiful altar of the garden, is about how life supports the garden. And life also supports, and this is what we're going to talk about, because there's no use in talking about faith, about the things that you're already faithful about, right? I mean, we don't need to hear that. So what we need to hear is how we develop faith for those things that we're scared about. So get ready. So over here, separate from the altar, are these little guys. These are star thistles. They're very invasive, and Sean doesn't think they belong in a garden that looks like this. And so these represent the weeds that we keep weeding from our mind as we choose and re-choose and re-choose to say, yes, that life is supportive of me, and as I believe it is done unto me, so I am going to weed the thoughts that would create lack, limitation, and unfortunate circumstances, and keep my mind faithful. But of course, it's not that, it is that simple. It is that simple. But in experience, what I know about people, students, seekers, who really, really want to answer yes to is life for us, is that we have to get through the next questions in order to be able to really answer yes. And the next questions that come up naturally are, well, what about agony, inequality, horrendous bad surprises, war, torture, world events, and even local events? you can fill in all of those things. And so today, what we're going to do is make another run at saying yes to that question, that life is for us, despite every other single thing that seems to beckon us in the other direction. Are you with me? Okay. Good for you all. So here we're starting out. In times of trouble, remember and appreciate the things that I'm going to talk about. So first of all, let me just see if I'm talking to the right group here. How many of you have been through things that are so challenging? How many of you have been through things that are so challenging that you think it's a miracle that you got through it? Oh, look at you heroes. Really, really. So just a brief thing about a miracle. We think of a miracle as something that is really, really odd that happens in our world. But I want to say to you that in the world of yes, to that question, is life for us? In the world of yes, the miracles are the normal experiences. So what seems unusual in one world is very normal in another world. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your head. So when we think about these things that are so horrendous to go through, here are some things that we need to remember and appreciate. And the first one is immortality. This is not the end. We are everlasting. This life is but one adventure of our soul. Now, this might not seem like so helpful a suggestion. It's like the theme of every old spiritual, you know, life is really horrible here, but it's going to be really good in heaven. And so that's what came. I mean, I got the answer. We got to look at immortality because we're immortal beings, but we still contend with life on this earthly plane. But there is something about those worlds that we create for ourselves. The world of grief and loss is a world of pinpoint consciousnness. We only get to look at, or we only allow ourselves to see that bit that is so hard. And part of the healing from a difficult time is to know that in that moment and in every moment, there are so many other things to put our attention to that are beautiful. Just like the star thistles and this glorious garden. If we put our mind on the glorious garden, it literally is like we have created ourselves a world within a world. This is from Anne Frank. We all know Anne Frank. She wrote this in her diary in the attic. The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside somewhere where they can be quiet, alone with the heavens, nature, and God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. As long as this exists, and I'm certain it always will, I know that then there will always be comfort for every sorrow, whatever the circumstances may be. And I firmly believe that nature brings solace in all troubles. That is looking in a place where there is beauty instead of where there is ugliness. You know, often when I am with people who are in hospice or know that they are headed for their transition, I talk to them about what they want to do next. And I actually had a young man, one of the first people in my first congregation who died of AIDS. He was young. And he said, I never learned to play golf. Now, I don't know if there's golf in the next world. But I told him that I don't think he's had his last chance to learn how to play golf, because it is done unto you as you believe. And if he believed the golf clubs were on the other side, I am betting he's playing golf. But you see what that was? It was looking into that place of, this is not it. We have eternal adventures to go. Next important thing to remember and appreciate is heroism. So, what is a hero but someone who has come through a great challenge? And in fact, that's what makes a hero, is a normal person who's got a heck of a big challenge and they manage to get through it. They struggle, work, learn, master, get help, overcome obstacles, and arrive at the other side. And this is so much a story that is within us. It's within every fairy tale, every myth, a whole lot of movies, a whole lot of television shows, a whole lot of books and stories. This is our story. We start out innocent, and gosh, then there's the winds of change, and then there's this, this big dragon that we've got to slay, and that big dragon can be any of the events in your life that are hard. And then a miracle happens, and we step into another universe where we have mastered the dragon or whatever it was that was in front of us. And we come back home, and we're changed. This is how Mother Teresa says this. There is a light in this world, a healing spirit, more powerful than any darkness we may encounter. We sometimes lose sight of this force when there is suffering, too much pain. Then suddenly, the Spirit will emerge through the lives of ordinary people who hear a call and answer in extraordinary ways. This room is filled with heroes. Michael Hart showed you her little crooked fingers and asked you to tell somebody, so what was special about you? And I looked at your sweet little faces looking like, oh my gosh, what should I say? But if we were having long conversations about what we've been through, we would hear heroic tales. Heroic tales. Right here in this room. And I know some of them, but not all. Next, choice. Every victim position can be reframed into a mythic journey. And that's what you feel when there's really bad surprises. You feel victimized by the bad surprise. And there's nothing I can say that I can promise that you won't have more. But there is a way of moving through that victim place, and it's with choice. And one of the people who did this that is such a thrilling example of this is Viktor Frankl, who was also in a concentration camp and survived, while many around him did not. And he survived and then created this Viennese psychotherapy called logotherapy. And a couple of quotes that I have from him that are so empowering. Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except one thing: your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation. And one more. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. So you have a choice to create great meaning with whatever you're going through. And if you have trouble with that, we have more than 30 practitioners who have just been to a really great weekend retreat who are filled with inspiration. Lastly, what to remember and appreciate is your oneness with God. No matter what has happened, we have never, ever been separate from the Infinite One. You know, there's a greeting card story about footprints in the sand, and it goes something like, I was walking with God, and there's my footprints and God's footprints, and then just when things got hard, there was only one set of footprints in the sand, and so I railed at God and said, you abandoned me right when I needed you most, and then God's voice comes in on the greeting card and says, no, my beloved, that is when I carried you. Those were my footprints. Now, when I read this, and when I say it, I think this is sometimes meaninglessly sweet. It is, it's a metaphor, but yet, many of you raised your hand when I asked you, do you know how you got through your dark night of the soul? And you didn't. It was a miracle. And that miracle is the force of our infinite beloved in our life, guiding us and directing us through those dark nights. Always, always there. So now this is what you remember when you're in it, and this is what we do now to shift and develop faith, because that's what the talk is about, developing faith. And this is something that you need to do for yourself. Nobody else can do it. I have developed my faith and continue to do it, and you develop your faith, and you can do it. You can. You can do it. First of all, you look for the good. So in this little book of quotes that I put together, I am going to quote myself now, because this is a very, very wise quote. And that is, there is a blessing here, and I am determined to find it. You know, every single thing that we go through, there is a blessing, and I am going to dig around until I find it. Our beloved Bob Plath that I told you, who was infirm right now, he started the Worldwide Forgiveness Alliance, which is being now taken over by some very, very powerful and wonderful people. But every single hero of forgiveness that is celebrated each year is a hero that has gone through such a dark night of the soul that their forgiveness is the miracle that inspires everyone else, and from that forgiveness, good emerges not only for the forgiver, not only for the forgiven, but for everybody who hears the story and says, oh, this happened, and it was forgiven, and then this being is now such a radiant light. And so free, so miraculous in their life. And this is by looking for the good in every single situation. Next is use spiritual practices. Take Posey's course. And if you can't do that, well, please do it, but for all of us who've taken it already even, reminding you that spiritual practices are prayer, meditation, giving, serving, and study. Prayer, meditation, giving, serving, and study. It's good to fit all of those in every single day. And if you can't do it every single day, do something. It's like the people who serve on the Sunday team, so we have one team for every Sunday. You can do that work by just opening up the boxes and putting stuff on the table and, making sure that people get a bulletin and counting the collection after we take it. Or you can do it and say, I am serving God in form. I am serving this person who is coming through these doors, who is the infinite presence of God, as Sandy, as Michael, as Marilyn, as Jean, as Bob, as Pat. I am serving God in this service. And that'll really get you out of the doldrums. Next is find spiritual support. Over 30 practitioners ready to tell you the truth. And me, I'm ready to tell you the truth. Lastly, act from love. Now, this is the really miraculous thing. I want you to consider, if you've never considered this before, to think of yourself like an orange. When you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. You can squeeze that orange in love. You can squeeze that orange in anger. You can squeeze that orange in any kind of emotional state that you want to, and what comes out of the orange is orange juice. Same thing. Now, if you take your essence, like the orange juice is the essence of the orange, the essence of all of you is love. You are made from love. You are love. That's you. I look at each face and you are love. And if any stimulus squoze you, and all that ever came out was love, that would be like your orange essence. Somebody squeezes you in anger, somebody squeezes you in some other kind of emotional violence. Only thing that can come out of you with squeezing is love. That is the miraculous healing that will heal the whole planet. So, life keeps giving us opportunities to know that what we do is give love in every single circumstance. When we do that, we are safe. And miraculously, when we are safe, life is safe back. You know, every single circumstance in your life brought you to this place right here. And from right here, whatever state of love and wisdom each one of us is right here, we can take the next step towards increased love and increased faith and increased wisdom. I didn't put this book away from last week, so I looked in it. Got something really great from Louise Hay. Most of us know Louise Hay. We have some of her tapes in the bookstore. This is a chapter called In Search of the Miraculous. Here's what Louise says. I'm just a simple woman, and I have developed a simple outlook on life. Love yourself and watch the miracles begin to happen. In my early years, I suffered many traumas, yet I always came through them. What I often thought was the end of my life, I see now was just another learning experience. Surviving can be a miracle in itself. Every day I ask for a deepening of my own understanding of life. As I continue to learn and grow, my faith in a power far greater than I am gets stronger, and I feel at more peace with the experience called life. And closing this part of the service with a quote from my dear Aunt Helen. We are all as safe as a toad in God's pocket. I invite you to the inner work now. And remember that God awaits in our heart of hearts as a glowing ember, as a flame, as a smiling face, smiling up at us as we look down into our heart. We sit there in the presence of the infinite. And we remember a lovely circumstance of our life, something from the present or the past, and we're grateful. And we think of a difficult circumstance from our present or our past, and we strive to put that same gratitude on that, for we know that all of it served to bring us to this moment in this state of consciousness. A few more times now, remembering a beautiful experience and a sad one. letting them go in another beautiful experience and a sad one. And see how we have been brought through every one of those experiences to be right here. Notice how love, or the call for love, is involved in every circumstance. See how you are larger, more courageous, and more flexible with each life experience. Seeing them all like pearls on a string. Each is essential to the whole, and each in its own way is essential for growing our faith that indeed life is for us. Blessed be.
For whom will I be a lasting memory? For whom will I easily fade away? Do I give enough? Do I love enough? Do I live enough? Did I ever give up on anyone I shouldn't have? Do I risk enough? Do I forgive enough? Do I trust enough? Am I enough? Never give up, never give up, never give up. And never give up, never give up, never give up. Oh, yeah, never give up, never give up, never give up. And never give up, never give up, never give up. Oh, and wake from this slumber. Share the faith that we are the sum of the choices that we make. We cannot lay down at the mercy of fate. Do I give enough? Do I love enough? Do I live enough? Did I ever give up on anyone I shouldn't have? Do I risk enough? Do I forgive enough? Do I trust enough? Am I good
Thank you.
Okay, you're ours now. Yeah, you're ours. And thanks for bringing him, Bodie. And Gypsy Soul has a little mall shop right back there with wonderful CDs and jewelry and really great stuff. So make sure that you visit them back there and support them. Thank you so much. And now would the ushers please come forward. This is the time that we share in our tithes and offerings. And if you have filled out one of these little question cards about abundance, I know you have questions about money. Why don't I have more? Maybe would be one question. Anything that you want to ask about money, anything, or supply, or prosperity, or abundance, or sufficiency, any name you want to call it, you can put this in the basket or hand it to me after the service. And now if you have prepared your tithe or offering, and for those of you that, I'll remind you once again, for those of you who have an automatic deduction, which are many, many of you, like 40, if you get a little card that says, I've already pledged, and put it in the basket, then it shows to everybody else that that's a really good thing to do. It helps us. So as you're preparing your tithe or contemplating your tithe or just be grateful. The whole idea of giving is actually emerging from gratitude. That's when it's powerful. So no matter what you give today, please, please allow yourself to settle into gratitude. Something about this precious community that you love. It could be the person sitting next to you, or the philosophy, or the music, or the altar. It could be the space that we're in. It could be how this works in your life. Allow that gratitude to expand to the corners of this room and then beyond. If there were such a machine to detect the dome of gratitude, it's up over this building by now. This is the place from which we give. Blessed be. Would the ushers please receive the gifts?
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Om inside my Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om.
So I give thanks for this offering and the dear hearts who gave and the dear hearts who accept. This blesses this community and beyond. And so it is. Amen. So, my darlings, I am going to put the cards and the address labels right here on Sean's beautiful altar for Jim and Bob, and you're going to need to provide a pen and just come up and sign them if you would. And so the practitioners on duty, please come forward, and Micah will pray us out.
These practitioners have graciously offered of their time and service to be with you after service today. If there's anything you're left incomplete about or wish to celebrate with them, back at the table. And with the rest of the practitioners, they are surrounding us with their consciousness. And as they do so and hold us in that highest consciousness, please join with me in affirmative prayer, knowing that one life lives itself. One good gives endlessly of itself. One infinite mind holds all that there is, every life, every breath, every thought, every experience, every wondering, every question. And within this one life, this one givingness, I live and move and have my being. For there is nothing else to be made of or for or by, and nowhere else to live. And therefore I know that everyone in the sound of my voice also lives and moves and has their being in that one life, in that one world, in that one universe of universes, in that one knowingness that endlessly and forever creates anew, becoming, falling into form, enabling, aligning with all our thoughts, all our beliefs, with the all that there is, expressing itself in ever new ways. And so as I look at this, and as I see the infinite examples of order, of how whatever occurs is always drawn back into that good, into that wholeness that life is, I know that wholeness. And so I call forth that knowing in each one within the sound of my voice. I call forth a release of anything unlike that knowing of wholeness, that knowing of good, so that no matter what event seems to preoccupy or distract, no matter what momentary sorrow, no matter what historical catastrophe, all resumes, all is coalesced back into an expression of that perfect good. And so I claim for each one that opening that releases fear, that steps into the wide, wide world with a knowing of the infinite power of good, of the always cleansing, refreshing, recreating newness of life itself, living itself through and as each one of us. And I give thanks for this. I celebrate it. I celebrate that within each one, that it allows it to be so. And releasing this word to the law of mind, I simply let it be so. And so it is.
So I invite us all now to stand for our affirmation and closing song. So right up behind me here. I deepen my belief that life is for me. I only see love and calls for love. I am supported and safe in expressing my life's purpose, and know that my true home is in the heart of God, now and forever.